Okay, so we're going to go over this chapter 4. So going back to the beginning of the chapter, the very first thing we started talking about was divisibility rules. Okay, so what you're going to have to remind me of is the different rules that you had to see if 2 went into a number. So let's say I have a number, I don't know, 270. I'll start with that one. Okay, there are certain numbers that we have divisibility rules that go with those numbers. Okay, so they're like hints as to what numbers will go into that. Now, if we were asking for the factors of a number, like if I asked for the factors of 12, I'm looking for all the numbers that I can multiply together to get 12. Okay, now you can use the divisibility rules to help you if it's a big number and you don't know them. But like 12, I have 1 and 12. And I would write it like that so that I know that those two multiply together to get 12. 2 times what is 12? 6. So I would put the 2 and the 6 on there. And then what else do I have?
4 and 3.
Okay, 4 and 3. And you know you pretty much got all of them if the two center numbers are close together. Okay, so if I was looking for the factors of 12, that would be it. So I'm actually going to use a similar concept to try and find the factors of 270. But first I'm going to figure out, does 2 go into 270? How do you know?
Because 0 is like an even number.
Okay, it ends in an even number. It ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So I can divide 2 into it. So I know 2 times something equals 270. Can I divide 3 into it? Okay, how do I know that?
Because when you add the numbers and you have 2 and 7 is 9.
When I add these numbers together, I get a 9. And 9 can be divided by 3. So I can divide it by 3. Can I divide 5 into it? How do I know?
Because it's 0 or 5.
It ends in a 0 or a 5, so therefore I know it's divisible by 5. Is it divisible by 6? How do I know?
Because it's divisible by 2 and 3.
Because it's divisible by 2 and 3, I know it's divisible by 6. Can I divide 10 into it? How do I know?
It ends in a 0.
It ends in a 0. If a number ends in a 0, then I know that 10 can go into it. Okay, so the difficulty thing here is listing. Now there's probably going to be a boatload of them, okay, because all of those go into it. So let's go ahead and begin to list all the factors of 270. So I know 1 and 270, okay? I know that 2 will go into it, okay? Any idea 2 times what? Should be 2 times 135, okay? Because 135 plus 135 is 270. So 2 times 135, how about 3? Now 3 you should be able to do in your head.
90.
There you go, because 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, so 3 and 90. Okay, I wonder if 4 will go into it. Now we don't have a shortcut for 4, so over to the side we're going to go 4 into 270. Does 4 go into 27? Okay, so I'm going to get a 24 out of that. I'm going to subtract. Does 4 go evenly into 30? 4 times 7 is 28, but then I have a remainder. So 4 doesn't go into it. Okay, but I know 5 goes into it. Okay, so I've got to figure out 5 times what gives me 270. 5 goes into 27 5 times. 5 goes into 24 times, right? So I have a 5 and a 54, okay? Now, I think I'm going to run out of room in a hurry, so I'm going to have to extend it down there. Does 6 go into it? We know it does. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to divide it by 6. 6 goes into 27 4 times. Subtract. 6 goes into 30 5 times, right? So I have a 6 and a 45. Okay. Does 7 go into it? I doubt it, but we can try. No, 7 doesn't go into it. Does 8 go into it? It goes 3 times, right? Okay, but 8 didn't go into 30, so 8 didn't go into it. Does 9 go into it? Yeah, because 9 times 3. So I also have a 9 and a 30 right here. Okay, because 9 times 3 is 270. Does 10 go into it? Okay, so I'm going to have a 10 and a 27. 11 doesn't go into it. 12 doesn't go into it. I think that's going to be it right there. But these right here are all of the factors of 270 using my shortcut. Okay? Now, that's not easy to come up with all those. So if they're asking you for the factors of a number, you've got to work your way through that number, figuring out what they're the factors of. So, now sometimes they just ask you, like, are those other things divisible into it? So let me give you a number here. Okay, we're going to start out this way. Okay, so we had 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. Those are all the ones that I have shortcuts for. Okay, and 2 go into it. How do you know? Because 6 is even, right? It's an even number. Okay, so 2 goes into it. Does 3 go into it? Okay, 2 plus 7 is what? 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. Can I divide 15 by 3?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, because 15 divided by 3 is 5. So those 2. Now if those 2 go into it, then that one goes into it. How about 5? No, because it does not end in a 5 or a 0. How about 10? No, because it doesn't end in a 0. Okay, so sometimes they just ask you for that. They just ask to know which ones of these go into that number. Okay, then other times, and I'm going to make you do this one on your own, okay? They're going to ask you to list all the factors of something. Okay, now those are the ones that are not necessarily the fun way to go. So, 196, list all the factors or all the things that you can multiply together to get that. When you finish, there should be 9 numbers. Okay? That's a little hint. Okay.
I think I got it.
Okay, this is what you should have. 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28, 49, 98, and 196. Got it. Good. Good. Okay. And that's just perseverance. Okay. So we talked about that in the first section, but then we also talked about what made something a monomial. Okay. So we used the word monomial. And if you remember right, a monomial can be a number and 11, a letter, just a letter. What it cannot be is something that has a plus sign or a minus sign in it. Okay? Now I can have a negative, so I can have like a negative h, but I can't have 2 of these that are combined together with either a plus or a minus. Okay? This, believe it or not, is a monomial because there's no plus or minuses in there. So that's the one thing that you're looking for. If I have 2x squared, is that a monomial? Yeah. If I have 3 plus 4, is that a monomial? Yeah, it is, because all I have to do is add 3 and 4 together and get a 7, and then it becomes a monomial. So if I can combine them and get a single term, then it's still a monomial. But if I had something like, that was kind of a trick question.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Okay, if I had 2x squared plus x, I can't combine them because this one's squared and this one's just x. So that is not a monomial, okay? Sometimes they give you things like this. 2 times x plus 4 and ask if that was a monomial. Well, when you do distributive property here, you go 2 times x plus 2 times 4. I'm going to get 2 terms here, which this is a term and this is a term. And they're combined with a plus, so the answer is no. Okay, you remember doing all that? Okay, that was the first section. The second section, 4-2, actually had to do with powers, base numbers and powers. So, like if I have a 4 to the second power, okay? This is my base, this is my exponent. So what does this actually mean? It means 4 times 4. Or if they asked me to evaluate it, it would mean 16. Okay? What if I had that? 16 to the 0 power. What is that equal to? 16. Anything to the 0 power. 1. Always equal to 1. Anything to the 0. I could have a big old 25,189 plus 54,210 to the 0 power.
I always forget that to the 0 power.
Yep, and it's equal to 1. Okay, no matter what's inside that parenthesis there. You've got to be able to go back both ways. You have to be able to evaluate it, and you also have to be able to put it into exponential form. Or so exponential form, like evaluating something, hold on. If it said evaluate 5 to the 3rd power, okay? That means I've got to figure out what 5 times 5 times 5 is. 5 times 5 is 25. You don't have a phone, do you? Okay, I was going to say, don't. I have some kids that are always looking down and looking at their phone, so don't do that. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. So that's evaluating it, okay? You got me? What if I said, write it in exponential form? What would that be? 2 to the 6th power. Okay, so pay close attention to the instructions, because the instructions are going to give you a hint as to what the answer is going to be. Okay. Then we talked about expanded form and standard form. Now that was the weird part of it. So let's say we have a number. 3,246. This is written in standard. Hold on, I've got to restart that.